Hello, my name is Jonathan Harris. Hasselblad A12 film backs. People sometimes complain they can be difficult and fiddly to load, but if you know what to do and if you know particularly two things to keep an eye open for, it is a really straightforward process. Okay, so first of all, let's just look at the anatomy of the back. Starting at the top of the back, this is the back release. Moving around to the side, you have the little key that you use to open and close the back. Now this also has a second function, which is very important, that I'll go through a little later. Moving to the back, you have the dark slide holder. This is the later version of the A12 back. Earlier versions don't have the dark slide holder. And you also have a film memo holder there, which you just drop the film cassette into, the film carton end into, to remind you what film you've got in the back itself. Now the design of those does vary from back to back, but it does the same regardless. On this side you have the film counter, and you have the little lever that you use to advance the film to frame one. Just on the bottom you just have the two little locating points for when you hinge the back onto the camera. Finally, the dark slide. Now, one important thing to point out with the dark slide is that it isn't symmetrical. The handle is slightly offset, and it's important to remember this when you put it into the back, because the offset side needs to face towards the lens. So I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but this is the offset side. So on this side, the handle is sticking out in this direction. If you look on this side, it's completely smooth. Now what's important about that is that if you put the offside towards the lens, so away from the film, and you slide it in, when you open the back itself, the back opens and closes very easily. If you put the dark slide in the other way, so the offset side facing towards the film, when you open the back, the dark slide snags on the insert. Not a big thing, but if you just remember to put the dark slide in the right way, it just makes life a little bit easier. Okay, so how would you load a film? Now, first of all, with the dark slide in the right direction, you just take the insert out. If you have recently finished a film, the black film insert, the black central spool will be on this side. So the first thing you need to do is to transfer it to this side. So just take it out and put it in on this side here. It needs to go on the take-up side, and you can always tell the take-up side because it has this knurled knob here. Now, this is a later style back, so it has a single bar across there. So if I lift that, you can see it's a single bar. On some of the older backs, that's actually two separate hinge sections. Doesn't make any real difference in use at all. This one is just a little bit easier to use. When you put the take-up spool in, just make sure the bar is sitting flat. If you put it in slightly askew, you'll see there the bar isn't sitting flat, and that'll cause you problems. So just make sure that it's properly seated when you put it in. Now, next thing to do is just take your film, remove the paper, and just make sure that is completely gone. You want this to be as clean around here as possible. Now, the film goes into the back, so the backing paper is facing towards the lens. So you load the film in, let me get this right, you load the film in this way, here. So the backing paper, the dark backing paper, is facing towards the lens. And again, make sure that bar there has seated down properly. So the film is actually seated properly on the two location lugs. Now at this point, just take the film around, put it out a little bit, just a short distance like that, and go back to this knob here that I mentioned earlier. As well as opening and closing the back, this also raises and lowers this chrome bar on the back. I don't know if you can see that locking and unlocking, locking and unlocking. What you want to do is, when you're loading the film, is just to move this key back to that position, pull the film underneath the chrome bar, and just put it out a little way like that, just just maybe 50, 60 millimeters, a couple of inches, and then re-lock there. So by doing that, I've now locked the backing paper onto the pressure plate. Now, what that means is the backing paper is going to hold in position. It's not going to fly off in all directions. So what I can do now is to come around to here and feed this tongue into the take-up spool. So just feed that paper tongue into the slot there, and then with the knurled knob on the top, just gently turn it until you feel some tension. Now at this point I can feel tension. I can feel tension because that bar has locked into position. It's holding the backing paper tight. By doing this, you can make sure that it's loaded properly, because I know now it's tight, that the little paper tongue has properly engaged, so the spool here is engaged with the film. What you need to do now is just release there, and then carry on turning until you see the start arrow there align with the little red arrow on the top. That's now ready to go back into the back. Before you put it back into the back, just relock it there. So now, when the insert slides into the back, the backing paper here doesn't snag on the back there. Now that's the thing that people always forget to do. And then when you come to do this, the backing paper snags on the edge of the back and it can tear. It can come out of alignment. So you can even pull itself out of the take-up spool. So push it back in, lock into position. You're now ready to go. But there is one last thing. With this lever here, with this little crank here, just gently wind that a few times until it stops. And that has now advanced the film within the back to frame 1. So behind the dark slide, you're ready to go. And if I pull the dark slide out, obviously don't do this with a real film. If you pull the dark slide out, there's the film correctly aligned for the first exposure. Okay, so away you go. Back on the camera, take your 12 exposures, the camera will stop and you can then wind the film off, ready to go again. I hope that's been useful. If you have any comments, please stick them in the box below. Otherwise, please subscribe and like, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.